This video is entitled Delusion or Truth. This is Daniel Eli, Reincarnated Biblical Prophet, Incarnate Angel. Persecution, ridicule, false accusations, concerns about sanity, etc., etc. I know what you're likely thinking if you've arrived at this YouTube video or are reading the page on my website entitled Delusion or Truth Prophet. Quote unquote, this guy's nuts! Or, quote unquote, he's lost his mind! Or, quote unquote, this guy must be schizophrenic! This guy must have totally delusional, crazy illusions of grandeur or some messiah complex. And of course, some will say, oh, he's a false prophet, or he's lying, he's making this up, he's trying to get rich off this, you're fooling gullible people. All of this, by the way, is a perfectly understandable initial reaction from many, if not most, of you first coming across this YouTube video or website, finalbookofdaniel.com or endtimeprophet2012.com. So be patient and follow me through here with these issues and concerns. Now, do I sound crazy to you? Do I sound insane? Or do I sound reasonable, rational, commonsensical, and down to earth? Now, it should be stressed that I too would actually have the exact same reaction had this been someone else's identity declaration, material, website, or book. In fact, if I told you, if you told me 20 years ago that I would have one day an 800-page scripture-quality spiritual autobiography and a massive spiritual awakening which is biblical in magnitude, and publicly declaring to be an actual incarnate angel, and modern prophet of God, and the reincarnation of some historical figure, I would have called you a nutcase. I'm actually still one of the biggest skeptics on the planet, which is required if you're a solid truth seeker and discerner. For most people, claims like this just sounds too out there, like some sensationalist tabloid-like fiction, or the product of a totally deluded, crazy character on the internet. Most humans seem to be totally ignorant of the reality of angels, incarnate and celestial. So it's my hope I can educate you to these realities. Now, do you know that reincarnation is very real and there's overwhelming tangible scientific evidence for it? Why is it that most Jews, Christians, and Muslims refuse to accept the reality of reincarnation when, why blindly believe something when you can instead know with evidence? Now, it's for these reasons why most will not even dare enter into this YouTube channel or website when first coming across this declaration, because their belief systems are too close-minded, and or it suggests it's blasphemy to suggest any angels can incarnate, because most Christians believe it's only Jesus, right? Well, it's Daniel's here. He's not just an incarnate angel, but an incarnate ancient of days since May 11th, 2011. I strongly suggest the listener or viewer of this channel have an open mind and actually read some of the story before passing judgment or rashly dismissing us immediately. Skepticism is healthy, I understand that, but narrow-minded cynicism is not. Now, what about this quote-unquote delusion accusation may make some concerning this author? Now, yes, it's true. Of course, there exists many deluded schizophrenic types in mental institutions who, quote-unquote, hear voices, or claiming to be Jesus or some historical figure such as Cleopatra. But as you see going through this channel or website book, that I am not one of these people, because I actually walk the talk, and I've had visible wings of radiating light from my body that people have actually seen. This is not fiction. This is all real, and it's been tangibly proven over and over again. And why would I have a biblical-style accuracy rate in predictions, including passing judgment on Iraq 2.5 years earlier, before the invasion of 2003? Why would a deluded character be capable of doing such a thing? Now, the natural reaction is, you must be deluded, schizophrenic or something. Now, should we rashly dismiss all modern prophets, messengers, angels? What about the true prophets and messengers? Aren't we supposed to be paying close attention to them and heed their message and listen? Jesus said there would be prophets to come after his death and the Bible. Yet why is it that most mainstream Christians and virtually all Muslims do not accept most modern prophets? Don't you worry, I don't need to be put on psychiatric medications, as you must understand that ascension to angelic consciousness was actually a rigorous process of lasting many years, of the casting out of all traces of delusions, to where all that remains is extreme sanity, clarity of mind, commonsensical, down-to-earth, scientific-style rationality, and proper truth discernment. Now, does God actually speak to humans? Yes, of course. The real voice of the Creator is not schizophrenia. Now, I was told during October 1999, in my awakening ascension, that I was the return of a biblical prophet, Daniel, of the Bible, and that happens to be my real first name. And I was agnostic atheist right up to that point. I knew nothing of the Bible. Now, my real birth name just coincidentally happens to be Daniel, and I've been a prophet for years and years and years now. A true prophet, by the way, not a false prophet. Now, how did I determine this historic identity? Is it just something I just made up out of nowhere? Is it some delusion of grandeur? Actually, no. Since the awakening, I've actually humbled my heart to an extremely high degree. I do not accept glory or worship for praise from other humans, and my motives are pure and as impeccable as can be. I'm actually here just to educate, inspire, and set you free from ignorance and the religion of the common man. I don't claim to be Jesus or the Savior of the world. I'm not seeking political office or worldly power, because I'm in the world but not of it. Daniel's placement here at the end of the age, right here in the 21st century, is a precursor to something much greater, as you'll see if you link to this video in the 2012 Final Truth video. And besides, most people are never going to take a self-proclaimed prophet seriously anyways, regardless of miracles, evidence, or sincerity. And now, if they did allow some miracle worker into political office, the Christians would just call him the Antichrist or kill him again. Now, the voice that I heard of God was not a schizophrenic voice in the head. This was a very obvious, voiceless voice, and it was not a hallucination. And if it was some sort of hallucinatory voice, how would that change someone's life so dramatically? God said to me the following in 1999, October. Quote, "Beloved, you have purified your heart. It's now time to tell you who and what you are. You are the figure behind Daniel of the Bible and are back in resurrected form, and from this point forward, an embodied incarnate angel." I actually shed a tear of awe after this revelation because it changed my life forever. That was a full 13 years ago now, as this video is made. Now, as for those who would say, he's a false prophet, he's going straight to hell, stone him to death, I suggest you go to the website and see the True Prophet versus False Prophet article, or the True Prophet video on this website. You'll see that this author passes every conceivable biblical test of a true prophet, and my fruits and deeds are pure and impeccable. Jesus said you'll know them by their fruits. Now, some people would even say, once they realize that I'm actually sane and not crazy, they'll say something like, "Oh, he's making this up. He's fooling gullible people. He's making this up. It's fictional." Now, come on. Why would someone fabricate something of this magnitude? Do you realize the importance of this whole message and the consequences of a prophet to write falsities in any way, shape, or form? The whole point of being a prophet is to tell and proclaim the truth. However outlandish the truth may appear, or how it may contradict some narrow interpretations of Bibles, or how it may contradict with mainstream church beliefs, like reincarnation. Now, why would I spend 15,000 hours and 12 years of this when all I get is persecution, ridicule, and accusations by hearsay hunter, fundamentalist types, or atheists, or whatever, who would rather have me stoned to death, okay? Like most of the Hebrew prophets of ancient times, most of whom they killed, by the way, including Jesus and 11 out of the 12 apostles, I'm only a suffering servant for a much more important message. And remember that they called Jesus of the Bible crazy too, and several times they even called him a demon, right? So I'm in good company. Now, I've actually been physically assaulted twice since my awakening. One guy thought it was Satan, or a fallen angel, and I had to spend 3 weeks in jail for publicly proclaiming my message in 2002. Now, if this were all somehow fiction, why would I stick to my guns and go to jail for things like this if it were just somehow like delusionary fiction? Now, what about the delusion of grandeur accusatory concern? Well, let's state I'm actually not seeking any kind of ego stroke, glory, fame, worship, or anything of the sort from humans. I'm actually just a humble servant, and I'm actually a very reluctant messenger. I don't enjoy the persecution I have to deal with. Now, contrary to those who claim to be quote-unquote Cleopatra or quote-unquote Jesus in a prior lifetime, this prophet, my name Daniel, happens to be giving astounded visions like the end of time and miraculous gifts like healing and the gift of reading, psychic readings. Now, this revelation of being the reincarnation of Daniel came like a ton of bricks. It's not like I woke up one day and just figured, oh, I think I'm going to become Daniel of the Bible. This reward that was promised to Daniel 2,500 years ago, by the way, is not material, worldly, or political. It's a spiritual and heavenly desire and fulfillment, and I wish to take as many with me back to heaven as possible. I've overcome the temptations and desires of the world with all its vanity, trappings, materialism, trivialities, and attachments. Now, rather than grandeur, it's actually an enormous historic duty with incredible responsibilities. Do you realize how serious I take this message? Now, I'm also going to state that I'm also a non-profit prophet. I'm not profiting from any of this. Like I said, I've donated 15,000 hours to writing this website and book. Now, after listening to this video, do I sound crazy? Do I sound insane? Do I sound schizophrenic? No, I don't. I know I don't. I'm very, very self-aware. I'm aware of the world. As a matter of fact, you could probably say that I'm in the top 1% of the most sane people on the planet. I don't watch television. I'm not brainwashed by media. Okay, I think for myself. This video ends at 11:11. Goodbye, God bless, and thank you for listening. And I hope you put aside your errorous ways of false accusations, because it really does damage to the true prophets of God, most of whom the false prophets give a bad name to. FinalBookOfDaniel.com, EndTimeProphet2012.com, and WorldPeacePrayerVision.org.